Thanks for checking out this video. It is time. We're going to talk about what's coming to Shudder for June 2022. I have to say that just in case someone finds this well after 2022. I don't want them to think it's June 2025 or something like that. But excited about some things coming up. Just so you know, for all Shudder exclusive and original films, I always get screeners for those, so I do release reviews, no spoiler reviews, ahead of those actually hitting Shudder. They usually hit on Thursdays, so I have the reviews up on those Mondays, but every now and then it'll be a little bit different. But for the most part, it's usually Thursdays, so you can count on my reviews being up Mondays most of the time. So come to my channel, check that out. Anyway, let's get into the Shudder exclusives and originals coming for June. Off-Season, which is coming June 10th. Upon receiving a mysterious letter that her mother's gravesite has been vandalized, in Off-Season, Marie quickly returns to the isolated offshore island where her late mother is buried. When she arrives, she discovers that the island is closing for the off-season with the bridges raised until spring, leaving her stranded. Dun, dun, dun. One strange interaction with the local townspeople after another, Marie soon realizes that something is not quite right in this small town. She must unveil the mystery behind her mother's troubled past in order to make it out alive. That sounds fun. I like the premise quite a bit. Sounds like it might have a folk horror element to it, I'm guessing, but then again, who knows. The next one's coming June 16th, and I've heard a lot of buzz about this one because it's apparently very unique and very interesting, so very interested in this one. It is called Mad God, and once again, it's coming June 16th. Mad God marks the feature directorial debut for visionary and Oscar and Emmy award-winning stop-motion animator and special effects supervisor Phil Tippett, the creative powerhouse involved in such classics as RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Jurassic Park, and Star Wars A New Hope, and The Empire Strikes Back. Mad God is an experimental animated film set in a world of monsters, mad scientists, and war pigs. It's already sounding good. A corroded diving bell descends amidst a ruined city, settling down upon an ominous fortress guarded by zombie-like sentries. The assassin emerges to explore a labyrinth of bizarre, desolate landscapes inhabited by freakish denizens. Through unexpected twists and turns, he experiences an evolution beyond his wildest comprehension. A labor of love that has taken 30 years to complete. Interesting. Mad God combines live action and stop motion, miniature sets, and other innovative techniques to bring Tippett's wholly unique and grotesquely beautiful vision to life. I'm excited. Are you? Let me know in the comments. Next is another one they've been hyping up on social media. Coming June 23rd is Revealer. Tensions rise when a stripper and religious protester are trapped together in a peep show booth and must come together to survive the apocalypse in 1980 Chicago. That's it. It's an interesting premise, but I'm wondering how it's going to be pulled off if it's all in that booth, because that could get boring. Just depends on the writing. We'll see. And then the last Shudder exclusive or original coming on June 30th, it is The Long Night. While searching for the parents she's never known, New York transplant Grace returns to her childhood southern stomping grounds with her boyfriend. Okay, it doesn't say the name. To investigate a promising lead on her family's whereabouts. Upon arrival, the couple's weekend takes a bizarre, terrifying turn as a nightmarish cult and their maniacal leader terrorize the pair to fulfill a twisted ancient apocalyptic prophecy. Don't they always? Sounds interesting. So they're adding a queer horror collection to Shudder. So the next bunch of films I'm going to tell you about will all be going into that queer horror collection, and I'll give you the dates on those too. So starting with June 1st, they're doing the 5 films of De La Iglesia horrors and thrillers, apparently, from Eloy De La Iglesia, who apparently was around 1944 to 2006. So the first one is called Cannibal Man. After accidentally killing a man, a poor butcher named Marco embarks on a murderous frenzy to cover up the crime. Marco starts disposing of the bodies in his slaughterhouse, but that alone won't solve the problem. Sounds fun. Cannibal movies are always a good time, and there really aren't enough of them, in my opinion. The next film also coming the next bunch are on the first. El Pico. Paco is the son of a conservative law enforcement officer. His best friend is Urko, whose father is a progressive socialist politician. Both young men are heroin addicts. El Pico is the intricately woven story of Paco and Urko trekking ever deeper into the seedy world of the illicit drug trade in early 80s Spain. Interesting. It chronicles a period of upheaval in the lives of these unlikely friends as their addiction leads them to escalating criminal activity, kicking off a chain reaction of bloodshed and tragedy. Alpico shines an unforgiving light into the dark corners of the drug underworld and explores the complexities of family lives that straddle the line between both sides of the law. That does sound very interesting. I'm interested in that one. El Pico 2. I'm not going to read the synopsis for El Pico 2 because I don't know if it's going to have like spoilers with El Pico 1, but the sequel to El Pico will be on there. Navajeros. Navajeros chronicles the life of Yarrow, the leader of a juvenile delinquent gang in late 70s Spain, depicting his rise from street urchin to outlaw anti-hero on the way to his inevitable end. The child of absentee parents, Yarrow has amassed an impressive rap sheet before reaching his 16th birthday, but still finds life unfulfilling. Ambition drives him to take up a sawed-off shotgun and lead his gang on a crime spree that will paint a bloody swath across the city and drive Yarrow closer and closer to violent tragedy. Unflinching and often brutal, the film also treats its subject with genuine humanity. Also sounds interesting. Sounds kind of similar, like seedy criminal underbelly type stuff. Then No One Heard the Scream. 1 year after his international breakthrough with Cannibal Man, defiant Basque filmmaker Eloy de la Iglesia co-wrote and directed this twisted thriller that instantly made him the father of Spanish giallo. Interesting. When a woman spies her neighbor disposing of his wife's corpse, she will cross the line from witness to accomplice to something far more depraved. I'm interested in that one as well. And then coming on June 13th, they're going to be adding All About Evil. It's a black comedy from 2010, apparently. This over-the-top black comedy is about a mousy librarian who inherits her father's beloved but failing old movie house, the Victoria. To save the family business, she discovers her inner serial killer and a legion of rabid gore fans when she starts turning out a series of gruesome shorts. Unfortunately, her fans don't realize yet that the murders in the movies are real. Interesting. Okay, that does sound interesting. Then coming on June 1st as well, two more. Daughters of Darkness. In the 1971 erotic Euro horror classic, a pair of newlyweds become the targets of the vampire countess Bathory and her female lover, who've been draining local vixens of their blood for centuries. But the Countess has bigger plans for the couple, and so she begins cleverly pitting them against each other until she can strike. Then, What Keeps You Alive? On the eve of their one-year wedding anniversary, Jules and Jackie become embroiled in a merciless fight for their lives when they find themselves pitted against the most unexpected of adversaries, each other. Kind of sounding tied in to the other one. Then these are the ones for the Queer Collection that are coming June 6th. It's just these next two. The Demons of Dorothy, which is apparently a short film, so shouldn't take you much time to check that out. Dorothy is a film director and a bit of a loser. To avoid sinking to the deepest depths of despair, Dorothy seeks comfort in her favorite TV show, Romy the Vampire Slayer. We know what that's based on, probably. Unfortunately, her own demons show up, from Alexis Langlois, director of Terror Sisters. I don't know that one, but sounds interesting. Then The Wild Boys. The debut feature from Bertrand Mondico tells the tale of 5 adolescent boys, all played by actresses, drawn to crime and transgression, punished to board a boat with a captain hell-bent on taming their ferocious appetites. They arrive on a lush island with dangers and pleasures and start to transform in both mind and body. That's a very interesting premise. Okay. Now, that was all the Queer Collection stuff that's coming in June. Now let's get to the other films that are going to be dropped on Shudder. The next 4 are coming June 1st, so as soon as we hit the month. Eye of the Cat. Penned by Joseph Stefano, author of the horror classic Psycho, Eye of the Cat tells the macabre and suspenseful tale of a young man who plots murder after his wealthy aunt announces that she intends to leave her fortune to her cats. I don't know about that. Might not check that out. One of my, I'm not going to say one of my favorite films, but a film I love very much is also coming on the 1st, In the Mouth of Madness. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Imagine a novel so overwhelmingly hypnotic, so tremendously horrifying that it paralyzes its audience with fear and turns its most sensible readers insane. When the author disappears, an insurance investigator hired to find the horror writer discovers far more than he could ever imagine in this spellbinding thriller. John Carpenter. It's worth it. It's a good flick. Then also coming on the 1st, Poltergeist. We all know it. Late one night, 10-year-old Carolyn Freeling hears a voice coming from the inside of her television set. At first, the spirits that invade the Freeling's home seem like playful children, but then they turn angry. And when Carol Ann is pulled from this world into another, Steve and Diane Freeling turn to an exorcist in this horror classic. And then the last one coming June 1st, Mary, Mary, Bloody Mary. Mary, a beautiful American artist living in Mexico to more easily gratify her growing lust for blood. While her horrific appetites are fueled, her life becomes further fraught with the investigation into the Grizzly murders, love for a handsome young American expatriate, and by the sudden terrifying appearance of her like-minded father, intent upon satisfying his own heinous hungers as well as his legacy of compulsion. As Mary continues to cut a bloody swath across the country, investigators and her pursuing parent close in. The suspense and nightmarish drama gather to a final chilling confrontation. Okay, so the next 2 films are coming on June 2nd, and these 2 films I will definitely be checking out. They are ones that have been on my list to get to, and I probably will be reviewing them on my channel as well. Alligator. From director Louis Teague and screenwriter John Sayles comes an unstoppable thriller with bite. A family returning from Florida decides their pet baby alligator is too much to handle and flushes him down the toilet. Meanwhile, Slade Laboratories is conducting secret experiments with animals and disposing of them in the sewer. The alligator, fending for itself, begins to feed on the dead animals and grows. Now, 12 years later, after several mysterious murders, David Madison is on the case to find out who or what is killing people. But as we know, it's the alligator, because that's the title. And then, Alligator 2, The Mutation, which I'm not going to read the synopsis for that. Just know Alligator 1 and Alligator 2. We're going to check it out. If you check out the first one, you should probably just watch the second one. Then the next 3 films, well, The Wild Boys is coming on June 6th. So I already gave the synopsis for that one. So The Wild Boys is coming June 6th. The next 2 films I'm going to read are also coming June 6th. Backcountry. An urban couple go camping in the Canadian wilderness where unimaginable beauty sits alongside our most primal fears. Alex is a seasoned outdoorsman while Jen, a corporate lawyer, is not. After much convincing and against her better judgment, she agrees to let him take her deep into a provincial park to one of his favorite spots, the secluded Blackfoot Trail. And then the other one coming June 6th, A Lonely Place to Die. A group of climbers make a grim discovery high up in the mountains. Buried amongst the peaks is an 8-year-old girl. I was going to say 8 foot tall. Wow, that'd be weird. Terrified, dehydrated, and unable to speak a word of English. Allison, the group leader, convinces her group to rescue her. But as they attempt to take the girl to safety, they become involved in an elaborate kidnapping plot and soon must fight for their lives as there's a apostrophe missing. As they're pursued by both the girls, another apostrophe missing, pursued by both the girls' kidnappers and a group of hired mercenaries sent to return the girl to her war criminal father. With danger all around them and mountainous terrain to navigate, Allison and her party are in for a grueling ordeal in order to save both the girl and themselves. That does sound pretty interesting. I could get down with that. Then the next 1 film is coming on June 13th, The Clove Hitch Killer. Tyler's a good kid, a Boy Scout raised by a poor but happy family in a small religious town. But when he finds his dad, Don, has disturbing pornography hidden in the shed, he starts to fear that his dad might be Clove Hitch, an infamous serial killer that was never caught. Tyler teams up with Cassie, a teenage outcast who's morbidly obsessed with the Clove Hitch legend, to discover the truth in time to save his family. That does sound interesting. I've seen that film, I think, on some streaming services before and been like, that looks kind of interesting. So let me know. Is it interesting? Should I check it out? And then the last 3 films are coming June 20th. The Freak Maker. Professor Noelter, a college science professor who believes it's man's destiny to survive an uncertain future by evolving into a hybrid plant-human mutation. Interesting. To test his theories, Noelter supervises the abduction of young coeds and fuses them with mutant plants he has developed in his laboratory, placing his rejects in a neighboring freak show which stars such real-life oddities as the Alligator Lady, the Frog Boy, the Human Pretzel, the Monkey Woman, the Human Pincushion, and the unforgettable Popeye. That sounds awesome. That sounds crazy. Definitely going to check that one out. Next film, Grizzly. An enormous grizzly bear embarks on a murderous rampage in a national park, killing campers, hunters, and anyone else who gets in its way, as bears might. But when rangers push to close the park, craven officials decide to keep it open. Sound familiar? A year after Jaws broke awards, director William Girdler set out to cash in with a knockoff. And guess what? It worked. Grizzly became the top independent hit of 1976, grossing nearly $30 million and inspiring many more animal attack thrillers, including Girdler's semi-sequel Day of the Animals the following year. Which, that's the final film that's coming on June 20th, Day of the Animals. Grizzly sounds interesting. Day of the Animals, a group of animal lovers are hunted by killer critters during a camping trip in this over-the-top cult classic from B-movie maestro William Girdler. Leslie Nielsen, Linda Day George, and Ruth Roman are among the campers whose hike turns into a death march when bears, birds, bugs, and more start attacking. This sounds ridiculous. I gotta see it. Though the campy attempts at staging the kills often induce more laughter than fear, especially the scene in which Nielsen fights a bear rug. Nice. This film still offers jolting thrills for all the fans of the animal attack genre. Yeah, that's a definite for me. I gotta check that out. Sounds like a so bad it's good film, and you know I like those. So, that is all that's coming to Shudder. Let me know in the comments, what are you most excited for June with Shudder, and also ones that you really think I should try to add to my list to get to and do reviews for. Not saying I'll definitely get to them, but I can try. So if I have someone kind of comment, or if I have multiple people saying one certain film, then I will definitely make sure I get that one done, but other ones will be taken into advisement. But hopefully that is all the information you were looking for as far as what's coming to June, because that's it. That's what's coming. Do me a quick favor, hit subscribe if you haven't to my channel yet. It is the best way to pay me back if you like any video I've ever done, this one or any others. It keeps me motivated too, so I would appreciate that. Also, hit the notification bell button. Then you'll know when I'm putting up my new videos, whether it's an impromptu video like this that I just kind of put up whenever I get the email with what's coming to Shudder, or one of my scheduled videos, which is for a week, which I think is a good amount. Regardless, thank you very much for taking your time to watch this particular video, and until next time, keep it brutal.